All right, yo, Alex,
We here.
we here, riding real talk.
Which episode is this?
I think you the third, episode 3.
Episode three?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man, so thanks for meeting me all the way from where in New Jersey you at again?
So I live in Bayonne, New Jersey. It's not too far from anything in New York. So,
Right.
because I pastor in Brooklyn, so
Mm-hmm.
it just makes the commute easier. So it's not too bad getting over here.
Yeah, bro. Oh, I got a gift for you, man. I got you a brownie from one of my favorite vegan spots.
What's it
Vegan
called?
brownies. Shay Alex. Oh, Shay
Come
Alex.
on.
Look
See,
at
you're
look at
anointed
God. I
today.
didn't even I didn't even think
That's
about
how you
it.
did that.
Bro, I legit didn't even think about it.
Thank you, brother. I'm trying to stay away, but if it's vegan, I
It's
think
vegan.
I can get away with it.
I don't know. It tastes better than regular
Okay. Okay.
brownies. So I don't know what they put in it, these vegan stuff, but that joint is crack.
That's great, man.
And
That's great.
it ain't there's no weed in it either.
We passed it, so we operating at a different high. So, dude, the concept of this, like, how did you come up with this? What's the goal of your show? I
Man,
love this idea.
it's like I spend so much time in the car,
Mhm.
and one of the things that I've always my team has always been saying is like, I need to start doing content in the midst of me doing what I do
Yeah.
on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, man, I spend hours in the car every day. Like it'll be perfect just for me to be able to have these conversations because I'm usually talking on the phone or
Sure.
on a Zoom call
Yeah.
while I'm driving. You know
Yeah.
how it is. So I'm like, how about I, actually bring people inside the driver's seat with me and hear the type of conversations, that I would have in a car. So that's how
Yeah.
we here, man.
For every like husband and father, the car is like your second sanctuary.
Bruh.
Like how many times you pull up to the house and you just kind of spend an extra 10, 15 minutes in the car? I'm like, all right, before I go inside, I just need to.
Bro, I don't know why that's so therapeutic.
It's crazy.
Just
Yeah.
sitting in silence, sitting in the car. Even if music is playing, just sitting there
Yeah.
before you go in the
I
house.
did that the other day. I got in my garage and I just like sat there for like 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Yeah.
Stay as long as until I get the phone call. Like, why you sitting in the
Yeah,
car?
That's hilarious. Wow,
Bruh.
this is great, man.
But yeah, man. So, you know, congrats again. Taking a leap of faith, getting married,
It's a leap.
you
It's a
know,
leap.
and you got your son, John Carl, all like within 1 year?
Bro, I'm telling you, I say to, I joke with some of my friends, I'm like, I'm not like these prophets out here. I don't miss. Bro, we are literally,
Yo,
we literally,
my son, sharpshooter, Chef
bro, we
Curry.
literally got engaged in April, got married in September. We're about to come up on our 1 year anniversary. And we came back from our
Dang.
honeymoon, like late October. We found out that we were expecting, and it's so funny because there was so much delay. We were kind of going through a lot in the last 5 years. It was
Yeah.
on and off, but like when you're ready and when it's God, like there's no delay.
Oh my gosh,
It's a green light.
bruh.
Everything go.
You already prophesying. Like that was literally the word that we got on Sunday, the prophetic word.
Seriously,
No more delay.
no more delay.
Yeah.
Like
Wow.
literally something was spoken over my life. It's so. I'm gonna tell you this.
Mhm.
The Lord gave me the word for 2023 was the year of acceleration,
Ah.
and the Lord gave me that to proclaim every year. We declare a word over the house, and didn't even realize that I was going to be the first participant. The first participant of it.
Come on.
And in the book of Amos, it says like things are gonna happen so quick that your head's gonna spin.
Come on.
And dude, that's literally what I've been feeling.
My God.
Everything is like happening so fast, like just
Sheesh.
trying to catch my breath. And,
Bro, I literally remember when you told me you were thinking about proposing. Then when you told me you are going to propose, then the proposal, then the wedding, then the announcement for the baby, it was like
intentionality, bro.
sheesh.
Yeah, it's like,
But like just like that.
and it's like even feeling like the Bible says like I'll restore unto you the years, and my wife and I had been going back and forth for years, but it just seems as if like the years have been were restored.
So like, cause y'all were off and on dating for like 5 years.
Yeah, most people don't know that. We were
Yeah.
on and off for a while because, you know, and it's crazy because when you're a pastor, you have to consider that you're not just, the marriage is not just for you, but you're also, when you get married, there's a congregation, there's a people to consider. And so the person that you marry is not only going to be your spouse, your wife, the mother to your kid, but also they're going to be, in a sense, based on the context that your church is, but still a figurehead and a representative to the church.
And I think that's important, right? Because for some people they'll be like, well, my wife is my wife.
Sure.
She's not your pastor, or she's not this.
Sure.
Right. So, what should a woman? Let's say a woman wants to marry a pastor, or a pastor wants to marry someone who is not possibly, because we know your wife is a beast. Tiana is a whole beast
She's a whole
in
thing
her
by
own
herself.
right.
Yeah.
Right? And so there's no doubt that she is called to ministry alongside you. But what if there's like guys who are like, meet somebody and she's not necessarily ministry minded, or do you think that type of relationship can still work?
I know, most definitely. It's but like when you look at each president, right? If you look at Joe Biden, our current president, his wife is not that vocal. Jill is not very active.
Facts.
Trump's wife wasn't, outside of the campaign trail, she wasn't that active, but Michelle was extremely active. You go to Laura Bush, she wasn't as active, but Hillary Clinton was extremely active.
Yeah.
But regardless to how active they were still a figurehead, and the nation still addressed them as First Lady, because they were still, whether they spoke a lot, whether they pushed certain initiatives, they were still representative of, this is an example of what our mother should be, or what our wife should be. So whether you're intentional about it or not, and whether you're a preacher or not, you're still, whether subconscious or more intentional, you're still going to be a figurehead to the ministry.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good. So there still needs to be an understanding, like I'm embodying an ideal, and I'm representing my husband or my spouse in ministry.
Yeah, you can't escape those pressures. The Bible says, like, how can you rule your church well if you don't rule your house well? And so if they see turmoil with the husband and wife, that kind of is going to be kind of perceived in the church a certain way. And the wife doesn't have to be a preacher. It is what it is. Like, it's some of those things that you just can't escape.
Dope.
Right? So, for every wife that wants to marry a pastor,
yeah.
God bless you.
Bro, I kid you not, man. Like, I think about like all the other, previous relationships I had, and there's nobody that I was with that I felt like could sustain and handle ministry and the responsibilities that I'm doing right now, but the person that I'm with.
Exactly. I kind of looked at certain people that I dated in the past and just said, I know why it didn't work.
Yeah, like, it's facts.
No disrespect, but for what God's calling me to build, no way.
And that's why I'm so excited for you and her and the ministry, because I know you guys as together will be a force. And yeah, man, like we need to see more couples in ministry, married couples, especially in our context in the Black community. We need to see stable, healthy marriages, which is why, I also shifted gears and I've been talking more about relationships on our platform, because, bruh, now here's another thing, right? Let me ask you this. Were you afraid that your ministry would have taken a hit because you got married?
Yeah, I've had a couple of young ladies.
Bro, you're riding in real talk right now.
either feel away or kind of something slowing down. I had one person, I was like, I'll be transparent. When I got, after my engagement, the next day, the little resignation came.
All of a sudden, the assignment is up.
Oh yeah, all of a sudden, new season, new time. No. But you know, the writing was on the wall. But I'll say it this way, man. Like, there is kind of like the thought, what is going to happen to this ministry if I get married? Is it going to be a power struggle? But I think what's great about my wife and I is that we didn't marry each other because of ministry, which is amazing. Which you would see the trends in the 80s and the 90s. You see a lot of guys marry a woman who could sing, or marry a woman that because it's going to help their ministry.
Help their ministry.
My wife and I didn't get married because we were both in ministry. We got married because she's literally a person I couldn't see myself living without. She's my best friend, my homie.
Yeah.
A person that I literally get along with. I don't want to be around. I've had best friends, but she's literally become my best friend.
That's so good.
So when you kind of look at like I don't want to live this life without this person, or I can't see my life without this person, that is why you marry. And of course, God's stamp of approval. But we didn't marry for ministry, so we operate as friends who love each other, who now co-labor together. You know what I mean? So it's a different perspective than just like the ministry's not first, our relationship is first.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's healthy.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about. Like you said, I love like how you guys were able to connect on the level of friendship, despite of similar interests, similar passions, similar callings.
But I mean, I got it, bro. There's many pastors like, y'all gonna be fighting over the mic. I heard that, you know, because she's on the road, she's not gonna commit to the ministry. I heard that your visions are gonna clash. But what's really great about my wife, because there's a possibility of those things happening. Mm-hmm. But I think what's really cool about my wife is that she also has amazing value. She has an amazing value system. So even if we were both anointed, saved, love the Lord, if we didn't connect in values, we wouldn't be able to coexist.
Right.
But there's still a place of like here understanding that she's a helpmeet. She's not called to necessarily lead. She's called to help as a helpmeet. And I think that in our society, in our time, we've kind of escaped and have disregarded some of those godly values.
Yeah.
And how God has orchestrated and created us. And so she lets me lead. And you know what I mean? She lets me lead the house. She lets me lead the family. And of course, the church follows. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, despite of the fact that, once you got in this relationship, when you got, serious and got married, the ministry, you might have saw some people leave, but ultimately you can say like, the ministry is better as a result.
Oh man, I mean the church loves my wife, and they love how genuine she is, how real she is, because I don't come in. I've never been that type of pastor that comes high holy, pompous, and I don't operate like that.
Right.
So to have a wife that's also on the same tip, she's down to earth, loves the Lord, anointed. They respect, they honor her, and they honor me. So that is just kind of enhance it, and they absolutely love her. And I feel for every man, if you're a leader in any sense, whether it is a pastor, whether you own an organization, whether you are just any type of leader, it legitimizes you when you have a spouse. Like when you have a wife, it's like, it shows that, hey, you're serious.
Yep.
You're not out here just playing games. You're serious about life, and if you have a wife that's willing to follow you, then I can also see myself following.
Come on. But and another thing I've seen is men who come to our church, for example, like me being married, like I started pastoring married.
Yeah.
So I seen and I heard how men felt safer
most definitely.
Coming to the church with their wife, knowing that I'm married and happily married as well. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, bro, I'm gonna tell a personal story. So, I used to have an admin back in the day, and she got involved with this guy, got engaged. Currently don't know the state of affairs currently.
Yeah.
But when that happened, and she was my admin first, her boyfriend or her fiance felt uncomfortable with her being my admin. And the second thing felt uncomfortable with just her being at the church with a single guy because, obviously there was nothing going on, but there's just a concern, especially for men, like, you're with this single pastor, you don't know. There's unfortunately.
And you're a good-looking guy, so
I try to be.
Of course.
That's why I'm trying not to eat some brownies. You try to disrupt my flow.
Bro, like that's the reality is like, oh dang.
This is Brooklyn, bro. This is Brooklyn. We down in what area are we down in Flatbush?
We in Flatbush now.
Anything can pop off here.
Actually, I need to probably get off this road. Anything happen over here. But yeah, like the truth is, we have insecurities as well.
Sure.
And any guy's gonna look and say, like you said, you're a good looking guy, you're single, my girl, I like her, why wouldn't he like her too? So there is gonna be that fear and that concern.
Especially when there's a reverence for the pastor and there's a respect there. And a man can see how a woman respects another man. Like, those dynamics are real.
Yeah.
When they see kind of like this honor and they're like, hey.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
The feeling is like, you treat him better than you treat me. You talk to him better than you talk to me. And that's another thing, like, I'm trying to teach the ladies, even at our church, is like, never make your husband feel like he's second to me.
Yeah.
Never let your husband feel like my words matter to you than his words matter to you. Never jump up to serve me more than you serve your husband at home.
That's good. That's great.
Because now you're going to make him feel disrespected, and you're also going to sow into his heart a seed of dishonor towards me. And it's unbiblical. Really and truly, you need to be honoring your husband.
Yeah, I think that honor is just a rarity in society in general, especially amongst our people. And I think that our generation is doing a really great job at seeing the past. Because for a while in the 40s, 50s, 60s, you had that great family dynamic. And unfortunately, as we entered into the 80s and the 90s, the dismantling of family, and we don't have to go into the agenda of that. But I think that our generation is incredibly self-aware, trying to turn the tide back into honoring our partners and not letting it be kind of that friction and that tension. And men are presenting and showing up. I know a lot of men that are showing up, and I just got to change the narrative. I know a lot of men that are showing up right now, changing the narrative, and creating a situation where their women are respecting them, have a reason to respect them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So like, for men who are like in ministry, let's talk about like some of the, I guess, challenges we've had to like married. Single.
Oh yeah, I can talk about this. Bro, I can talk about this. And I can give you some rules of engagement.
That's good. Yeah, let's do that.
Number one rule of engagement, and I had to learn this. If you're going to have an admin that's a female, make sure that she's older than you. Or she's not a single woman that could possibly be attracted to you. I think that's important. Number two, don't meet with women alone. That's very important for your name and for the integrity of your ministry. Number three, don't teach at a level that you're not on. So, like, sometimes we feel like, as the pastor, we're the priest, judge, and jury. All of us are not Samuel, where we're like priest, prophet, and judge.
Yeah.
So if you're not in that space, like, kind of teach on the level that you're on until you're graced for, whether it be marriage or something like that.
That's important right there. That's good.
I think we speak past our pedigree.
That's good.
And like, because we feel the pressure. It's just church sometimes gives that pressure.
Yeah.
But like, those are some of like the main things that I've kind of learned. And I think that number four, your name is everything. And it's if you don't guard your name, like the Bible says, let your light so shine before men, so that they can see your good works and glorify the Father. Like, you have to ensure that your name as well, especially being a single pastor. Number 5, I think that accountability is key. So like if you are preaching out on your itinerary and you're on the road, like make sure your adjutants have your room key as well.
Right.
Make sure
And that you don't travel alone if possible.
Yeah, don't travel by yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that's just kind of top 5 for me. Some of the things that I've seen, I've experienced so many situations that I've attempted to compromise my integrity.
Yeah. No doubt.
And as a man of God, especially in our society today, what's more important than your message is your life. You know, your life is your message. And so you can be the best preacher, you can be the best orator, you can be the best visionary, you can be the best creative.
Mm-hmm.
But if our culture sees that you just don't live the life, you automatically lose legitimacy.
Yeah. Reputation is everything.
Yeah, man.
Precedes you.
Yeah.
And I know people right now who will not be allowed to preach within a few mile radius of where we are right now because of their reputation and their stories of things they've done. And they can preach, they can draw a crowd, they're anointed, but their track record is proven that their life is messy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's I mean, it's a real thing. But I'll also say this last thing. I know I gave 5 rules engagement. I give you a bonus one. Do not marry for ministry. I think that there's a lot of pressure. There's actually a stat that says that 60% of Christians feel the pressure to marry. A lot of the main causes behind that is like to stay pure, to not fornicate, to not commit adultery, whatnot. But I think there's also a pressure in pastoring to marry for the sake of it legitimizes you or whatnot.
Yeah.
I think that, especially as a leader, it does help to legitimize you, as I mentioned before.
Yeah.
But to marry specifically for ministry is a trap and is a trick of the enemy, bro. Like I'm 35. I waited till I became 35 to get married because I wasn't gonna marry somebody and continue a trend of divorce, or I wasn't gonna operate like that. I needed to know that I found my person, I love my person, I'm meant to be with her, and not just to do it for the sake of pressure from the church. Or feel like that I just need to do it, you know what I mean, for the sake of church growth. That's why.
And I'm sure many women wanted to marry you and wanted you to marry them, I should say. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I think that you always kind of have those pressures. And then of course you decipher your audience and you kind of see who has motives here and there.
Right.
Oh yeah, it's another. I keep coming up. See, the Spirit of the Lord is just bringing.
Hey, come on, bring it.
7.
Now you dropping some serious gems right now.
If you can help it. Do not date it within your church.
Oh.
Do not date within your church. Reason being
Sheesh.
is if it does not work, not only does it become awkward, but that failed relationship becomes a cancer that grows. People start talking and people become common. How can you leave people in that same garden? You've dated them.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, like kind of don't date in your church. Like that's it.
So you're specifically saying people in ministry or just in
people who are in the ministry specifically. We can talk about that's another show. But specifically, if you're in ministry, and you know, especially, when I say in ministry, I'm talking about if you're pastoring.
Yeah.
Like if you're pastoring, it's just a recommendation that I have. I'm not saying that God can't drop your wife in the church or you can't find her in the church. I just know if it does not work, the damage it can do to your church and your ministry.
So how do you feel about pastors marrying celebrity women?
What do you mean?
What do you mean? So there's, or pastors who are now marrying like women who are.
I got what you mean.
Who are known in the world.
Sure.
Well, not really like ministry, like they're known in the world for the secular things, and then, getting with a person in ministry.
Well, if you look at today's church, it's kind of elevated because of social media. It's elevated the profile of the pastor. So there's even pastors who feel like celebrities in themselves, in their
That's
own
true.
right. And so because you've amassed 100,000 followers online and you're a
Yeah.
blue check or whatnot, you also kind of feel like a celebrity. So it kind of makes you feel like you're in the same world.
Gotcha.
And of course, in the society in which we're in, and you know how certain pastors are treated, they are treated like as celebrities. So you
So it's
know,
almost like we understand each other because we're
exactly.
both in like from a celebrity culture.
Exactly. Again, if it's not purposeful, then it's not going to work out anyway, or you'll be miserable. I know a friend of mine that just got married. He went through a public divorce, um, and his church is like he's recent church, I mean less than 5 years, and his church, his first day, him launching his church, he had 800 members show up. Like
800,
800. Like his
dang.
church is at like about 4,000 right now in the Midwest.
Mm.
And he and his wife divorced in the middle of like the pandemic, and his church actually grew. His unfortunately had a real situation where there was indiscretion, not with him but the other party, and he just got remarried. But to see the joy on him was great. But I say that to say he kept the entire situation silent. He dated in silent.
Yeah.
He dated somebody in another city. It was a city not driving distance, but just not in his area because everybody in his small town knew him because his church had amassed so much growth. And he just kept it private. And the reason, same thing with me, bro. I kept my relationship. Nobody knew in 5 years. You probably a handful of 5 people that knew.
Yeah.
Because
Yep.
of our profile, we wanted to keep the dating season sacred, and we had already had too many of our close people give their opinions. So we needed to make sure that we dated in private. And I feel like those in that who are celebrities kind of feel the same ability to kind of guard their privacy as some people who are celebrities. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. So basically, keep people out your business.
Oh man, yes. Yeah.
Everything don't need to be broadcasted, and even even to your church.
Even to your church, because think about it, as a pastor, you give everything. I don't know about any other pastors. Sure, you, brother, you give your life to the church.
Yeah.
You give your life, you give your time, you give your effort. But my dating life, my heart needed a sacred place, and I don't think anybody knew that we were getting married, knew about our relationship until I proposed, and that's the way she had it. She wanted it as well. Like it was like we proposed, and it was like, oh really? It was a shock.
Yeah.
But it was great. It allowed us the space to work through our situation and not have opinions kind of cause us to deviate or pressures from church or whatnot. You know what I mean?
Man. So what's next for you guys in terms of like, well, no, you're raising your son.
So in terms of like from the ministry standpoint, we just launched our app, a church app, IIM Church app, where we have some exclusive content that's going to be there. In terms of my wife and I, there's so many things that we want to do together, but telling our story is going to be amazing.
Oh yeah.
About how we got to where we are. But honestly, right now our son is 8 weeks old.
Sheesh,
So our time,
newborn.
our time is with our son.
Come on,
You know,
enjoy
everything
it,
else is secondary.
bro.
You don't get this time back. So
You don't, man, and it goes fast.
yeah, man.
Like Peyton is 12, Preston is 8,
Jeez.
and I still remember both of them like at 8 weeks, like. And now Peyton is she's going to 7th grade
Jeez.
next week. Preston in 3rd grade, so.
Man, soon enough they're gonna be going to high school.
College. I don't even want to think about it.
Yeah, man, it's a crazy journey. Like, you know, you and I relate a lot because, you know, we have our own kind of endeavors, but then we have the ministry, marriage, family, and balancing all of that. It's tough. But God has given us grace. I realize that the more my cup is full with responsibilities, the more efficient I am.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, I get more done. I don't waste time.
Ain't that amazing?
It's crazy.
It's like, it's always like, even at church, right? It's like the people who have the most responsibilities, get the most done.
Yeah.
And you be looking at people like, you're single, you don't got no kids, it's just
And
you.
you're idle.
And you the most flaky one, the most
Late.
inconsistent one,
Oh
you're
man.
late. I'm like, but it's almost like because you have the responsibilities, it forces you
Yeah.
to be a better time manager, a better
Sure.
energy manager, a better money manager, because you're constantly always thinking about how to be more efficient
Yeah.
with
And
your
you're not just
time.
living for yourself.
That part.
You know what I mean? I think that if more kingdom people realize that even in their singleness, that you're not just living for yourself, but there's, you're here to build God's kingdom. You're here to empower the world. You're here to empower yourself, and you're thinking from from a perspective of thinking forward.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time you are ready to be married, you'll come to the plate, especially brothers. You'll come to the plate with something to offer. You're not just coming with looks or with a physique. You're coming with a plan. You're coming with vision. You're coming with savings.
Come
You're
on.
coming with security. You're coming with provision. You're coming with guidance. You're coming
Yeah.
with experience. You're coming with blueprints. You're coming with collateral so that she can feel comfortable and letting you lead. She feels comfortable. She feels protected. She feels like you have the ability to guide her. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Where she doesn't have to guide and lead and
Bruh.
take the forefront.
That's so good. And so, like, people who wondering, when is the increase gonna come? When is their blessing gonna come? Their Boaz is gonna come? Their I don't know, whatever they looking for. It's like, just stay active, just stay kingdom minded, stay purposeful.
Yeah.
You know, and I found that, like, the more people get their hands, commit their hands to the work, when the right one comes along, they're gonna see you operating in a way that it inspires them to say, you know what, I see you as somebody I can bring into my life as well,
Sure. Sure.
to produce with.
Yeah, I think stewardship is key. And as you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
my mentor, Reverend A. Bernard, says this. He
Mm-hmm.
says, God, as much grace as He has, as faithful as He is, He calls us all to steward four things in life. He calls us to steward relationships. He doesn't manage it for us. He calls us to steward relationships,
Mm-hmm.
time, your talent, and your money. Those are the four things that God does not steward for you, but requires for you to steward. And so I think that when we get to understanding those mandates and that weight and that responsibility for things, we'll show up better, where we don't have to present our representatives, but we'll show up as the real thing and be enough for anybody who comes into our lives.
That's fire.
Yeah.
I'm about to preach that next month.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, tell Pastor Bernard I'm stealing that.
Yeah, it's key, man.
Bro, thanks for coming through,
This is
man.
great,
Thanks for the
bro.
ride.
Ah, man, this is amazing.
Always.
You got me in Flatbush. We're in Fort Greene. It's a little bit more, dogs and coffee shops.
Nah.
We heard ambulance and
Nah.
a little bit. But
You ain't hear no gunshots yet.
Let me tell you, I done seen like one block that had like 7 churches just on one one block. But I love Flatbush, man.
Yo.
It's a vibe.
Thankfully, it's about to be Labor Day, so thankfully the music ain't start yet.
I'll head back to Jersey.
Bro, love you, man. Thanks for coming through.
Always.
I'm gonna see you. I gotta have you come over to H4G soon.
Oh man, let me know. We're there.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. All right, bro. See you soon.